It is hard to know what to feel about this story. He left. He left his disciples, and he hasn't returned yet. He gave them some instructions, and then it says he was lifted up, taken up into heaven. It's hard to know how to feel. It feels a lot like loss. It's interesting that he warned them over and over again that this would happen. Do you remember the story of Mary Magdalene seeing him outside the tomb and saying, "Teacher," and he said, "Don't hold on to me, Mary. Don't hold on to me." He told them other times, "It's better for you if I go. The Spirit cannot come until I go." Another time he said, "If you loved me, you would be happy for me that I'm going to be with my Father. Don't cling to me." The thing that strikes me as so hard about it, though, is that they just lost him and got him back again. They just went through Good Friday and Easter, and now it feels like they're losing him again. The ascension is not meant to be seen as a loss, but because we don't know another way to see it, maybe it's important for us to compare it to some of those other losses in our life that are for a good reason. Maybe there's a lot of people here who are parents who have already sent children off to college. Do you remember the pain of that? Sending children off to college for parents is excruciating, but it is for the best. It is what must be. It hurts parents terribly, but for the child to reach his or her potential, they have to be able to go and do what God created them to do. In fact, they have an adulthood that they want to offer to their parents that they can't offer unless they go. A child can't give a parent their adulthood if they're still in child mode. And once the child is able to give that to the parent, there's such joy to have a new relationship with your adult child. But first comes the loss. I have noticed that there is never an easy time either for a child to lose a parent. Often I will do a funeral for someone whose adult child will be present at the funeral, and they're so sad to lose their parent, even if the parent was very old. I've seen a 75-year-old daughter just weep over losing her elderly mother. One of the things that I talk to families about when they lose a loved one is, if an adult child has lost a parent, one of the things that's important to think about is, that's part of the way that you love your parent. Part of how you love a parent is grieving for them at their funeral and by their grave. And what I mean by that is, it means you outlived them. If you get to go to your parent's funeral, it means you outlived your parent. And that is a great gift to give them, because any grief expert will tell you losing a child is the worst grief. There's nothing worse than losing a child, and I know there's people here tonight that have gone through that, and only they know really how bad it is. But there's nothing worse than losing a child. So if you bury your parent, it means they never had to do that for you. They never had to go through that loss for you. You say, "I'm going to take the pain for you, Mom. I'm going to miss you so much, but I'm going to do it for you so that you don't have to do it for me. It would have been cruel for you to be by my grave. So out of love for you, I'll stand by your grave." Christians have a bittersweet relationship with death, don't we? It's very hard to know how to respond to death, because it would be wrong for us to be too upset about something that we really deep down believe is wonderful, is what is meant to happen, is a beautiful culmination of life. How could we regret the most beautiful outcome there could possibly be? And yet it's still so hard. One of the great saints, one of the doctors of the church from long ago, St. John Chrysostom, said, "When a loved one dies, they are no longer where they were. Now, they are wherever we are." When you lose a loved one, they're not where they were anymore. Now, they're wherever we are. Today in this church, we had a funeral for Cy DeLucia, and I know there's quite a few people here tonight that were here for that funeral. If you haven't heard the name, he was kind of a legend in town, especially for his generation. He was a long-time teacher and then principal and then superintendent at the school district, and he did a lot of other things too. He spent 37 years in the schools, which means that he affected thousands of lives. And if you want proof of that, you can go on to the Brady Funeral Home website and take a look at the parade of tributes that have been written there for him. As I was looking through them, I saw that there's really a theme to a lot of those tributes. One of his students wrote, "He made me proud of who I am. It changed my life because I saw how proud he was of his Italian heritage and his profession, and as a young person, it changed me. I couldn't help but be impressed." Someone else said, "I will miss his wisdom, but I will always carry it with me." There's that principle in action. He is no longer where he was. Now he's wherever his students are. Jesus had to ascend, and he is no longer where he was. Don't bother going to Jerusalem. You might see some wonderful sights, but you will not find him there. He's no longer where he was. He's wherever his students are. That's our job. That's our role, is to be his witnesses, to be his presence, to do what he would do. We're the students where he now dwells. We carry his wisdom with us. His teachings are inside of us. His example is inside of us. And thanks to the gift he gave us in the Eucharist, it's not just that. His body and blood is going to go inside of us. And his body will be in our body. His blood will course through our veins. It's incredible. It's too good to be true. There is only one thing better than having the Master right here in front of us. It's having the Master inside of us.